Corporate boards, particularly in the U.S., have some long-established traditions, though governance reforms work against many of them. The board's supposed to be made up of a dozen older white guys who all know each other. They don't fret too much about their role in the company because the CEO, who's also the chair, pretty much tells them what to approve. The CEO is also the guy who suggests new board candidates should any of the incumbents retire or start asking too many questions. Now, this old-line CEO got to tell the board which of his lieutenants should be the next CEO. And finally, this new chief executive, as one of his perks, would tell some of the current directors it was time to retire so he could reshape the board in his own image. The CEO being free to pick his own board, as the saying goes, was a common prerogative of boardroom politics, but it's one that seems to go against every ideal of how good corporate governance should work. If, as we've always been told, the number one job of a board is to hire, monitor, and fire the CEO, what is the CEO doing moving them around like pieces on a chessboard? The rise of good governance codes, shareholder activism, and board nominating committees has put the idea of a new CEO giving the boardroom a house cleaning in the shade. And yet, it still happens. In the first issue of Boardroom Insider back in 1997, I covered Steve Jobs coming back to lead Apple that year. One of his first acts was to purge the board of ineffective members who lacked tech literacy. 20 years later, though, we see a similar purge at General Electric. New CEO John Flannery has taken over, and one of his first moves was to announce that the GE board would shrink from 18 to 12 members, and that 3 of the remaining directors would retire to make room for new members who, in his words, had more relevant industry experience. Now, no doubt GE has been drifting for a while. This year it missed earnings projections and cut its dividend. And also, no doubt, an 18-member board with lots of long-tenured celebrity directors is out of step with current business demands. In announcing the GE moves, Flannery noted the board itself will direct the restructuring. And market analysts and the media have all applauded the shakeup as strongly positive. Even the usual activist voices for board empowerment have been silent on this. Now, maybe the boosters are right, and there are times when a new CEO should pick his own board for the good of the company. Apple's board shakeup 20 years ago set it on the path to become America's most valuable corporation. But still, not so sure. I'm Ralph Ward from the Boardroom for December.